In this video, I'm going to be watching, reviewing, and reacting to House of the Dragon Episode 2 in Season 2. Of course, if you're a fan of this content and would like to help support the channel, then whenever the like button throws a party at their house, tell them you're going to bake some cookies for everyone. But when you bake the cookies, instead of using sugar, use salt. Also, if you could hit the subscribe button as well as the bell icon to be notified about my new videos. I talk about gaming, movies, TV shows, and anime as well, and pretty much everything regarding entertainment and pop culture. I'm going to be uploading 3, 4, even 5 times a week, so if you're a fan of that content, then please consider joining the channel. So guys, with all that being said, let's get into it. Oh man, I'm so excited about this. Alright guys, let's do it. That sounds alright. Did it sound okay? I gotta tell you, I think I enjoy this intro more than I did last season. I'm glad. I was a little mixed feelings about the whole intro music whenever they kind of copied and pasted it from the original Game of Thrones, but it's so iconic and I really do like it. But as far as this tapestry and the way it looks, I like this better than Season 1. So this looks like King's Landing. I'm assuming this is immediately right after the aftermath of Blood and Cheese, and they have the dogs looking for the culprits. Let's see.
I'll kill them all! Traitors and villains! They dare strike at me!
Yeah, that's about the reaction I was expecting. Yeah.
The gates have been...
I don't know what that is. He had a gold coin. Trying to remember in last episode what the deal is with that. I don't know. Did he pick that up off the ground underneath? Or it looked like he kind of reached up underneath the table and plucked it down, but maybe he just reached underneath and just picked it up off the ground. Interesting.
The child is dead.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, can you imagine? They must have come across his body, and it's just the body of the infant there without a head, because they had to cut his head off. So, man, can you imagine?
Who will pay?
Whosever hand did this or caused it to be done.
The gods punish us. They punish me.
Man, Alicent's losing it, man. Like, this whole thing has just gone way out of control. You could even tell at the last episode whenever Lucius, or whatever his name is, I think they were calling him Luke, but his name is, all these stupid names. They're so hard to remember. It was like Lucreus? I don't know. The son of Rhaenyra, when he died, you could even tell Alicent was saying a prayer for him. She did not want something like that to happen. And things are escalating really bad, and she's losing it.
My son is my legacy!
And where were you? The Lord Commander of my King's Guard.
I was...
Oh boy, okay, so things are getting interesting now. It's really sad because Aegon, he really does seem like he wants to be a good king, and he brought his son in the last episode to sit at the table because it seems like he really does not feel loved by, like he didn't feel loved by Jaehaerys, he doesn't feel loved by Alicent, his mom. He just kind of feels neglected, and now that he's kinged, he feels, you know, like he wants to do a good job, and he brought his son in there, and, you know, there seemed to be a part of him that really wanted to kind of raise his son right, the way that he didn't get raised right. And now that's been taken from him, and now he's questioning Mr. Cole, Sir Kristen Cole, and look at Allison's face. She's like, "Oh shit."
To bed, your grace, having ordered the night's watch.
Instead of safeguarding the sanctity of my family.
I do wonder if Kristen Cole was meant to be on guard, because I thought, well, maybe he was assigned to, from the very beginning, protect Allison, but maybe I wonder if he was actually supposed to be there and be on guard, protecting Aegon's wife and the kids. And of course, we know what he was doing instead.
He's a gold cloak,
Oh boy.
noted for his brutal nature. We caught him, fleeing the gate of the gods.
King may have more than one enemy, your grace. We would do well to ascertain if this is your sister's hand, or if there is a serpent nestled closer to our bosoms.
I gotta tell you, the actor playing Aegon, I don't know his name, but he's doing a really good job selling this. He really is doing a good job. I mean, he is reacting exactly the way that you would expect. And they caught the gold cloak with the child's head. What about Cheese? I wonder if they... What are they going to do with him? Did they catch him?
You mean to blame Rhaenyra?
I will not be seen as weak.
You're already seen as weak, Aegon. Let them look upon the works of this pretender to the throne.
He's trying to take advantage of this. He doesn't know, of course, whether or not Rhaenyra has done this, you know, whether she directed it or not. But he wants to take advantage of this to smear her name in order to make Aegon look better. Always scheming, good old Otto.
Father.
Jaehaerys will do more for us now than 1,000 knights in battle.
He's right.
Let the Silent Sisters ready the prince for his final journey.
He's still calling the shots, man. I mean, it's funny how he just kind of gave the order to do it anyway without Aegon even just agreeing, you know? He's just like, all right, it's decided, we're going to do this.
Helena, what you saw last night when you came to my room.
This is for my boy.
I always forget her name. Did she say it was Elena? I always forget her name. She's just kind of this oddball, weird character, but she really does have a lot of significance. I wonder if they're actually going to show the body of the kid. Like, actually, are they going to do that? I don't... Man, if they did, oh, that would be brutal. So, it looked like he was just wrapped up in a cloth. And then you could kind of tell that the head was separate in its own cloth. It looks like... Because I was picturing in my mind... I don't know. I was picturing... like them actually taking the open body without the head and just like hoisting him up, you know, so that you could clearly see, like, hoisting his arms up, you know, on like a couple of poles, like wooden poles on a wagon, so you could see the head is gone. And like, I was thinking the most gruesome thing possible, and I just was like, how are they gonna go about doing this, you know?
I was hired by Daemon Targaryen. He paid us half now. Half when the job is done.
Who is us?
A rat catcher.
I didn't take long for him to give him up. Probably smart move. I don't know if that'll save him.
Behold the works of Rhaenyra Targaryen.
Ooh. Well, it does make sense that they'd fix him up a little bit. Probably good they did that. Oh, man. Ugh. That's brutal. They got the image down, though. I can't tell. It almost looks CG, doesn't it? But I think it's just makeup. I don't think they'd CG that. It's good, you know, makeup or whatever they used on the neck. This is going to be interesting. I was going to say, you know, it's not exactly propaganda. I mean, it's like you're using it, you're taking advantage of a bad situation, but at the same time, it was kind of Rhaenyra. I mean, I know it was Daemon, but you know, Daemon is with Rhaenyra. He's her husband, you know, and it is this war. They are against them. They're, you know, back and forth. It's her side. So for them to do this, they are kind of exploiting the son's death, but at the same time, they're not really wrong in doing it. Because after all, it was the blacks who it's the cause of them. I mean, Daemon, you know, he may have acted alone, but he is still with them. So the actions that he does has a ramification and reflects the blacks, at least from the Greens' point of view. It's working, man. The people of King's Landing really are buying into it and sympathizing. Oh, this isn't good. What's gonna happen? You got all these people there. I think the wife. I am definitely gonna have to remember her name after this. I'm really bad with names. Sorry about that, guys. But you know what I'm talking about. The mother of the son. She's freaking out. She's an oddball as it is. She almost has this kind of autism about her, but she sees visions. Like she can see somewhat into the future in some strange kind of sense. And she didn't want to do this. I'm starting to pay attention even more now every time she talks. I rewatched season 1 recently, and even back then, whenever Aemond was talking about when they were younger, and he was talking about how he wanted a dragon, and then his mother was telling him he would get one. Well, she was in the room at the time, and she was playing with this little bug, and she was like, well, he's going to have to trade an eye or give up an eye or something. And, you know, no one pays attention, but it foreshadowed like, oh, you end up finding out Aemond does end up losing an eye. And, you know, I'm really paying attention because everything she does, it's like, what is this going to mean in the future? What is this going to mean coming up later on? And she did not want to go on this ride. She wanted to stay away from these people. And now that the carriage has stopped, we'll see what happens. Something bad, probably.
Boy's head was severed from his body. Thousands witnessed the procession.
See, this is something that Rhaenyra would never have wanted to happen, because she's obviously a mother. And she just lost... I mean, I say that, I don't know. She just lost her son. But she... I just get the impression that she would want revenge on Aemond. I believe that's the only phrase she said in the last episode. Bring me Aemond or something like that. She doesn't strike me as someone... So far, I don't know. I mean, I guess... She could surprise me, but I just don't get the feeling after seeing her motherliness. I mean, it has really been a huge aspect of her character, and for her to go after another little child, I don't see her ever wanting that. Daemon, on the other hand.
And they are accusing me of having a hand in this.
Let me fly out on Vermax. Rhaenys is needed in the gullet, and I can watch for movements from King's Landing.
No.
She's afraid now. After she lost her other son, she doesn't want him to go. She doesn't want to risk him. I like his outfit, by the way. That red kind of Targaryen crest on there. The red cape and the black. I like that. I dig it. Doesn't matter.
Having lost my own son. That I would inflict such a thing.
There you go. That's what I was thinking. She knows the pain of that. I think if she got extraordinarily vengeful, then maybe she would be pushed to that point. But even then, I just can't see her wanting that to happen.
The death of Prince Lucerys was a shock.
I don't think that people around this table necessarily believe her. I think they're doubting her. Look at Daemon. He's just sitting there. She's got to bring it up to him at some point, right?
Did you send assassin?
She just has to look at him with that one look. You know, you could tell her face. She looks at him to kind of gauge where he's at, and you can tell her facial expression changing, and he turns and has that smirk on his face, and she just immediately knows.
That it was your aim to spill Hightower blood.
If not Aemond, then anyone would do.
No.
I don't believe you.
I don't believe him either. Because in the last episode, the rat catcher, Cheese, he did ask, what do we do if we can't find him? And then Daemon just kind of smirked and he didn't say anything, but I think he probably did say something like, just find one of the children. Just find any of the royal children. If Aemond, if you can't find him, any of them will do. Or something like that.
Cannot trust you, Daemon.
Or have you used me as a tool with which to grasp at your stolen inheritance?
If you remember, he is, in the last season, when they were talking alone, she brought up the Ice and Fire thingamajiggy, the Song of Ice and Fire. He just grabbed her by the neck and started choking her. So he is like, he's such a wild card, man.
I think you used my words as an excuse to take your own revenge, to indulge the darkness you keep sheathed within you like a blade.
Am I not on my way even now to Harrenhal to raise an army in your name, Rhaenyra?
God, I have to say, the way they're speaking, it's like, I have to bring this up, it's like night and day compared to the Rings of Power. Like, they're using the same kind of, speech, like, they're not talking like modern day people talk like I'm talking now, that it's kind of this almost fantasy flowery kind of language, not as much as the Lord of the Rings, but it's very, very similar, and it's so good. This conversation is really good. The acting, the way they're using the words, even like the metaphor about, you're using darkness, the way you keep it inside of you like a blade that's been sheathed. And I just think about the Rings of Power. You remember that first episode with the guy, and he's like, if it floats like a boat but sinks like a rock. It's just like, oh my gosh. It's just such night and day, man. It's such night and day. This is good, though.
Father, in his grief,
Your father
who
was a
needed
coward
you?
who knew I was the stronger son. Or did he merely use you as a tool to put me in my place because he was afraid of me?
He could not trust you.
So interesting. Daemon, he feels Lucerys. Lucerys was his name, right? Yeah, the really the MVP of the last season, and he just feels he was weak. You can tell he feels that he deserved the Iron Throne, that he deserved to inherit it when Viserys died. Of course, you could tell as Viserys was wasting away, it really did bother Daemon. But it bothers him, and now he sees in his mind the same weakness in Rhaenyra, because she doesn't want to cause bloodshed. She wants to wait. She wants to have patience. She doesn't want to just go out and just slaughter every single person. And he views that really a lot as just pure weakness. But Rhaenyra has a different perspective. She's just like, oh God, the names, I'm getting tongue-tied. Viserys, he didn't fear Daemon. He didn't trust him. He didn't trust him to rule wisely. And in the end, at least in her mind, he felt that she would be a better ruler. And you can tell it still is really eating away at Daemon. I think he's torn. I think there's a part of him that genuinely does love and care about Rhaenyra, but there's definitely another part of him that has always sought the throne, and he's wanted to use her in a way to get to it. And I think she's right. I think he is playing off of her and using her to ultimately get what he wants. But I do think he does care about her. So there's kind of this dual struggle inside of him of, that sometimes complements, those two feelings and ambitions and desires complement each other. But then sometimes, like in this instance, it doesn't. Because she's right. He did cause the death of a child.
It was a mistake.
What can she do? I mean, she's so low on allies, and she's doing everything she can in order to muster as much support as she can. Daemon is a huge factor there. he's not only her husband, but he also has a dragon, which they need. I mean, what she wouldn't be able to just exile him or push him away, and if she did, I guess she could, but if she did, what would he end up doing? He could end up causing even more harm, and then that's aside a big, chessboard piece that she loses.
You wish to see me?
What is that on that plate? Is that food or is that decoration? It looks like honeycombs and dried leaves or something. That's got to be decoration, right?
He must follow his own path.
What does that mean? He must follow his own path. Is he leaving? Oh man. This is getting interesting. It was already interesting. It's getting more interesting. There he goes. He's geared up too, man. Look at him. I missed the helmet with the things on it. You know, they had like the bat wings on the helmet. I missed that one. That one looked cool. Oh. Ooh, man. It's heartbreaking when you see that. I'm really starting to think that Kristen Cole was the one who should have been there. You know, as this season goes on, I'm liking him less and less. I kind of sympathized with him, but you can tell, I still kind of do. You can tell he's a man who's had his heart broken, but he has gone down this dark path to where he's become more and more shallow, and he is caring less and less about honor and duty. And I'm wondering how this is affecting him. You can tell it really does bother him. I think he feels responsible for this. Well, they're doing a good job of letting this sink in, of really the ramifications of this. I suppose if she was going to push Daemon out for anything, this would be a legitimate reason, because, you know, after this, and she's there playing with her own kids, and it's like, oh man, really huge ramifications of what's just happened.
Have you told anyone?
What do you take me for?
She must be talking about, I mean, that's got to be it. You know, have you told anyone? And then, you look at both of them and their responses. Just the guilt that is just written all over them. He must have been the one that was supposed to be there guarding them. And because they were doing that, doing it, he wasn't there to protect them. And they both feel extremely guilty for that. I wonder the conversation with Elena, because she walked in on them, she saw them. And so, but she's kind of kooky and weird, so maybe they're not too worried about her saying anything. I don't know.
The white cloak is a symbol of our purity, our fidelity. Kingsguard are a sacred trust. Who you so easily sully?
Pretty hypocritical for him to say all of that. Why is he messing with him? I don't know.
Well, if you thought to go upstairs, where were you? Oh, Commander.
Ooh.
And why has Helena the Queen been granted no sworn protector?
They're all getting up. They're all leaving. Like, oh crap. Let's get out of here, guys. Oh man, okay. This is getting interesting. He's definitely projecting, though. He's projecting hard.
Mud, you cannot think
what
that
I think has no relevance.
So, the other twin brother, because the guy, I forget their names, they're almost completely identical. Eric, I think. There's like an Eric with an A and an Eric with an I or something. But Daemon questioned the other Eric, who's on their side. I wonder if Kristen Cole's trying to use this guy as a scapegoat.
You will go to Dragonstone and strike down Rhaenyra in her own halls. We will pay the princess back in her own bloody coin.
So interesting. The love interest of Rhaenyra, Daemon, acted on his own to strike this blow against, the Greens, Alicent and all them. And now the love interest of Alicent is putting together this assassination to strike against the blacks. It's so, oh man, he's gonna end up confronting his twin brother, isn't he? Must be tough being a bastard. You know, one thing I don't know, and I'm sure there's a lore thing with it, I don't know exactly how it works. Does the Targaryen, like, he's a Targaryen, right? But he, you know, he's born a bastard because Rhaenyra and the Strong, who was the leader of the Night's Watch, Lord Strong or whatever his name was, and he is the son of him. Is that why he's not considered, I mean, he's a bastard, but it's like, so it takes 2 Targaryens to make another Targaryen to keep things pure. That's why some of them have the white hair and they're considered Targaryens. And him and his now late brother have the darker hair because Strong wasn't a Targaryen, obviously, and so he doesn't have that. But the thing is that Alicent's not a Targaryen, and her and oh gosh, I'm getting tongue-tied on the names again. The king in the last season, Viserys, her and Viserys, I think that's his name, they had children, and those are true Targaryens, but she's not a Targaryen, right? No, I don't believe she is at all, otherwise she would have the white hair. So, unless I'm really messing this up badly, but she and Viserys had Targaryen children, and they were considered, you know, true, you know, heirs. But Rhaenyra and Lord Strong, she had children, but they weren't true heirs, and they certainly aren't born as Targaryens with the white hair. So does it only work if the male is Targaryen? So the male can sleep with any female, Targaryen or not, and then it's going to result in a Targaryen. But if it's just a female Targaryen woman, she can only sleep with a Targaryen man in order to have Targaryen children. Is that how that works? Which would be fine, but I don't know. I need to look it up. I need to do some homework.
Daemon sent them to kill me.
A couple of things is interesting. They are doing much more of a conservative job censoring some of the blatant nudity in this season than they did the last one. Also, in the last season, Aemond here, whenever they were searching for Aegon, they went to this brothel, and this chick here, well, Aemond was telling the story about how him and Aegon went to this brothel, and Aegon was trying to teach him the ways, you know, and stuff like that. And she came out, and she was answering questions, and she remembered Aemond here, and I guess she may have been like his first, I'm assuming, or something like that, and this is kind of where he learned all that kind of good and gravy stuff. It's interesting to see him back here, almost in this, well, not almost, but in this very vulnerable position, and he's kind of curled up on her lap like a little boy, which is very in contrast to the way he normally is, because he is a very intimidating, fairly strong individual, and so to see him in this position's, you know.
You were with me.
So Aemond was with her the night the children were killed. That's why they couldn't find him in the castle. Interesting. He's skinny, man. He's skin and bones. He needs to put on some meat. Look at him. He's skin and bones. He's like a skeleton.
I do regret that business with Luke. I am sorry for it. They used to tease me, you know.
Interesting. He is absolutely unveiling his heart to this prostitute, who obviously means a lot to him. It's probably one of the very few people in the world that he just feels this connection with. And he regrets killing Luke. We know that he lost control of the dragon. I forget the dragon's name. But I didn't realize he just regretted it. They were childhood friends. I think that's the blacksmith, isn't he? I remember from last episode when he approached King Aegon and was asking him to be paid up front for the work he was doing. I think that's the blacksmith. Could be wrong.
The king has promised us some relief.
I'm afraid, Hugh.
So it looks like their daughter is sick, and the king on the last episode did say that he would help him, but that hasn't happened yet. And this guy was introduced in the last episode as well. I think his name was Will, was it? Or maybe I'm getting that wrong. This guy definitely has some kind of connection to Corlys, the sea snake, but I have no idea what, because I haven't read the books, so everything is new to me.
And I'd rather he didn't, truth be told.
Do not be foolish, Alan.
Alan. I said Will. Alan. It's common names. Alan. It's easy to forget.
That's because you haven't seen what I've seen. There is a war brewing, Adam.
I hate to keep bringing up the Rings of Power, but when he says, "You haven't seen what I've seen," and then this other guy, I don't know his name, he should have responded with something like, "I've seen my fair share," and then Alan, he should have responded with, No, you have not seen what I've seen."
Daemon flies when we most need his hand at the oar.
His daughter thinks that he's going to honor, what is it called? I want to say Honor Hall, but I don't think that's the name of it. She mentioned it in that last scene when she was talking to Rhaenyra's other son.
But neither can he allow her to command him.
I have on occasion found that to be quite enjoyable.
Excuse me. I had to clear my throat there.
Tell me what part you played in their unfolding.
I had nothing to do with it.
I'll tell you, I really, in the first season, I really didn't like Lady Massaria. I mean, her character was okay, but what I didn't like about her was her acting. I guess when I say her acting, I mean the way that she used her voice. Like, it sounded so unnatural. Like, came across as she was trying to speak English, this language, but with a very thick accent that wasn't normal. But it came on so strong, like the accent, it kind of took me out of it. It was just like, that doesn't... It just wasn't very smooth, and I've noticed in this season, and even I think you can tell a little bit right here, that it's not the same. She's worked on it, and lore-wise, you could kind of give an excuse for that to say, well, she's lived here longer, I guess, and so her English is becoming and sounding a little bit more natural, or whatever language, quote-unquote English is in this world. But it's improved since last season, to be sure.
You remember me now.
In the first season, I'm trying to remember, did she come across her when she was younger, a child? Let me see.
He said he would marry you. He said you carried his child.
Ah, that's right. They were on the bridge, and Daemon had just stolen the dragon egg, and Rhaenyra showed up, and the white worm, or whatever she's called, she was there. That's right. Now I remember.
Bit by bit, I earned my living. A house, a household, a home. Then they set it all aflame. The high towers, I can only assume.
That isn't true. She thinks it's the high towers. But it wasn't. I believe it was Lord not Varys. I want to say Varys. Oh god, I miss Varys. Lyris or Lars or something like that. He's the cripple guy, the guy who likes Alicent's feet. I believe it was him who hired the thugs, the criminals, who went out and set her house on fire. But that was shortly after the conversation that she had with the Hand, Otto. And so, they had that arrangement, and Otto was like, I'll look into the children, because she was concerned about the children in the pit fights. And after that, Laris, or Lars, I gotta figure out that guy's name. Laris, or whatever his name is, the cripple guy. He told Alicent that he would deal with it because it would cut off Otto's information, because Alicent was still kind of like, clashing with her father and kind of wanted a little bit of a leg up, and it was his men who burned down her place and maybe killed somebody, but she thinks it was Otto and the Hightowers. That conversation didn't really seem too meaningful to me, but maybe it will be later on if we see her again and she becomes more of an important role, a bigger figure. Otherwise, I didn't really need to know her backstory, but it's alright. Can you imagine living in a world with dragons, man? That'd be so cool. Like, you're just out, well, maybe not, it might be scary, but, you're just out on the beach or wherever, and all of a sudden you hear that scream, the roar in the sky, and you see a dragon flying in the sky. Man, God, that would be intense. That'd be insane.
Who are they?
Ratcatchers.
They got him. They got Cheese. They didn't know which one, because he didn't know the name, so they just rounded up every single rat catcher and just killed them all and hung them. Oh, Cheese.
The rat catchers! Idiot! The king is my grandson, and my grandson is a fool. He's worse than a fool. He's murdered innocent men.
Interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen Otto this angry before. And he's saying that some of them were innocent men. I have doubts that he actually cares about that. But I think it's the second line where he says, "Hang them for all to see." Maybe he's upset because this tarnishes the king's image, and that's the whole, it kind of undoes the whole thing regarding the funeral scene, basically.
We bought their approval with your mother's tears. We made a bitter sacrifice against the deprivations to come, and you've thrown it away.
That's it. I was right. I was right. That's it. It has really hurt his public image badly, and that is why Otto is so pissed, because they have undone the opportunity that they took in exploiting Aegon's son's death, and now, in the eyes of the people, really the hanging part is what did it in.
We must act. Sir Criston Cole has acted.
I cannot look at Otto's face. He's like, what? What are you talking about? I cannot wait to hear. So Criston Cole has told Aegon, I cannot wait to see Otto's response whenever he finds out what he's done.
And what has Sir Criston Cole done?
This guy's acting is so good, man. I love this actor. He's just so good.
He has sent Sir Aric to slay Rhaenyra. He's pretending to be his own twin. Brilliant.
Gods help us all.
Oh man, it's like he's surrounded by idiots. He's like, oh God, help us all. God, this guy's so great. Oh my gosh.
You never think of your father, his forbearance, his judiciousness.
Seemed like Otto there really does kind of miss Viserys. Viserys, more than anything, seemed to know how to act like a king, knew the meaning of patience, and, you know, all the loops that you have to jump through. Of course, Aegon I don't know how old he is, but he's obviously still very young, and he wasn't exactly raised in a kingly manner or prepared in any kind of way. So his impulsiveness makes a lot of sense, but it is breaking Otto. He is just losing it. His patience.
He was right about you.
He made me king.
Is that what you think?
Oh man, Otto, be careful what you're saying, because Aegon might... Aegon, he does not really like his father. He feels neglected by him, I feel. And, oh man, be careful what you say. I think he's, I don't know, man. You're not Tywin Lannister, okay? Like, you're cool, you're good, but I don't want to see Otto get his head cut off, okay? He's one of my favorite characters.
Remove your badge,
Sir Otto.
You think yourself clever, but without a strong hand at your side to guide.
Give it to Cole.
Okay. I wasn't expecting that. Okay.
In this hour, you have proven yourself of more worth than 100 old men.
You will regret this.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. So Criston Cole is now the Hand of the King. I didn't see that coming at all. That's crazy. And Otto, he just keeps switching in and out of being Hand of the King, and back and forth, back and forth. I wonder if he's going to be the Hand again at any point, because it is a stupid decision. Like, hanging the rat catchers, now I see, it really was a dumb decision based off of how that has unfolded. And Otto is very clever. He's very smart. He's right to be angry about this. He overstepped, of course. He's not... I don't know. He is very tactful, but he let his anger in this get the better of them. And then the last episode, Laris, or whatever his name is, sowed that seed in Aegon's mind of, you know, this was your father's Hand of the King. He's not necessarily has to be your Hand of the King. And Aegon is very impulsive, and he's making some really bad choices. So I'm wondering if later on he'll realize that and reinstate Otto and kind of humble himself, or if he'll just continue to spiral out of control downhill. And I'm also wondering about Otto here. He seems like, you know, genuinely, there's a lot of scheming involved, but he does genuinely seem to have the best intentions of the realm on his mind. Like, he is the kind of guy that comes across as the ends do justify the means as long as it benefits the realm. Viserys in Season 1 accused Otto of wanting the Iron Throne. And maybe he does, but I don't know. I just feel like this is a guy who is willing to do whatever it takes to keep everyone together. He's willing to kill. You know, in last season, he was, like, basically told Alicent, like, we need to kill Rhaenyra swiftly. We need to kill her heirs. And in this season, we see the consequences of them not listening to him. And he is right so often more than he's wrong. But he does do a lot of things that are unsavory. But at the same time, it's like in this very brutal world, it's very necessary, you know? And so I wonder what he's going to do now, because it seems like there is a genuine sense of pride in him to want to keep things moving and going well, and he's willing to do that. And now it's just like, after all of his attempts, he's kind of in this position of, let me just let this idiot destroy it all. You know, it's like he's kind of mentally given up, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what he does.
And I sense that there is danger in you yet. Let her collect her things, then have someone take her down and secure her berth on the Corwin.
It's not really that big of a deal. It's not like she knows any secrets from Rhaenyra's side. I mean, she's been here in the castle, but she's been locked up in the dungeon. It's not like she... I don't think that she is a threat necessarily to be let loose. I mean, you could argue, but you know, Rhaenyra, she really does seem to have a sense of, you know, goodness in a way. So she is going to give away the evil Eric. We have good Eric now, and we have evil Eric. So, I say that. I mean, I guess it could really go either way. Are the greens evil? Are the blacks evil? It's not always that cut and dry, right? There's good and evil on both sides, of course. But, in this scenario, he's coming to assassinate, so he's considered the evil Eric. I wonder if she's just going to flat out give him away, and what's going to end up happening. It's not the worst idea in the world. I mean, they do look identical in every way. I wonder if they are actually, if there's two, I haven't looked it up, but I wonder if there's two people and they're actually twins in real life, or if they're just doing the screen thing to where, you know, they're duplicating the person, you know, and it's the same guy, it's the same actor. I don't know, that's interesting, because they look identical in every way. Now we're not going to be able to tell the difference between either one of them. I'm not going to know now that one's taking his helmet off.
Believe me, I had no choice.
I don't understand.
Brother!
Okay, so I knew something would have had to have happened, because there's no way he would have killed her, not this early on. How, though, did his brother know? I mean, was his brother watching? I don't know. I got a little confused there of who was who. But I guess his brother saw him. Or felt him. You know, he kind of turned and looked at that one point. This is going to be interesting. It looks like these two are going to be forced to fight each other, though. I feel like the evil Eric had a chance to immediately dash toward Rhaenyra whenever the good Eric came into the room. But then he kind of shifted around, and then I guess he decided to go for her. So that was kind of a misstep on his part. I feel like this is very meme material. I feel like this could create a lot of memes.
Your Grace!
Sir Lawrence!
Interesting. You notice how in the fight, this is a good fight, you notice how they're kind of circling around? There's going to be some misdirection here. I don't know what we're going to see. This is good, though.
We were born together. You parted us! But I still love you, brother.
Well, one of them is definitely dead now. Now, the big question is which one is it? I don't know. I can't tell. I don't know.
Forgive me.
No! No!
I wasn't expecting that. So that must have been the good one then. I'm assuming. And he just had to kill his own brother, so that sudden act made sense. But wow. Man, oh man, that's I wasn't expecting that. Wow. I gotta say, that was a very interesting exchange. It was a good fight, you know, and I'm glad that no one interrupted it. The two of them went at it, and in the end they were still brothers, and you could tell. I was thinking they were going to do this misdirection, which I guess would have been easy. But, you know, the good one killed the assassin one, but that was still his brother. And you could tell, you know, he hated that. He must have known that it was always going to come to that in one way or another. But wow. It's, gosh, I'm kind of soaking it in. I knew one of them was going to die in some way. I wasn't sure how that was going to unfold. I was suspecting that maybe the bad one would have killed the good one and then would have pretended to be the good one and then tried to go and kill Rhaenyra. And we would think, oh, the good one is alive, but no, it was really the bad one. But they didn't go that route. They just had the good one win, and then out of grief, he killed himself. And oh man, it makes sense. It does, but gosh, oh man, that's too bad. They were growing on me too.
Exiled from the council. Witness to the blundering of our plans, I'll return to Old Town.
No, no, don't go. Oh no.
I have sinned.
Oh man, is she about to do a confession in this tender moment? Is she gonna actually, you know, is she gonna actually tell him?
I do not wish to hear of it.
Man. I mean, he's selling it. Like, he really is suffering. Like the death of his son. This is no Joffrey, man. This is no Joffrey. He really deeply cared, and he is just broken. Oh, okay. Well, maybe not. Something tells me they're still gonna get it on, but she's obviously upset with him. She's very upset with him. And there you have it. That's how the episode ends. Even though her father has had the hand of the king taken from him, the position, and has now going to leave, she is still going to indulge in her passions, even though Criston Cole has potentially caused the death inadvertently of the kids and the children, and sent Sir Eric to his death. He has now been given the hand of the king, even though he doesn't deserve it, but he no longer cares about honor or anything like that. Obviously, he's thrown that to the wayside. Wow, there is a lot of stuff going on, a lot of interesting things. Both Erics are dead now, so no more confusion there. Daemon has gone, he is left, and we don't know where he's going or what he's going to do now. Rhaenyra has rejected him because of a very impulsive decision. Of course, there was back and forth. Aegon made a good, tactful decision, thanks to Otto, and then almost immediately undoes it by hanging the rat catchers. Wow, a lot happened in this episode. A lot went down. You know, more dialogue, not really any action, but a lot of dialogue, a lot of scheming, a lot of politics, but still very, very interesting stuff, you know. And the battle of the brothers, the battle of the twins was interesting. That was a good fight. And I wonder logistically how well, you know, someone who is very good at like armor and armor class and swords, you know, someone like Shad at Shadversity, I wonder how they would rate that battle as far as, you know, the using of swords and how well the armor protected each one. It looked like the good Eric at the end when he stabbed himself there, it looked like he had to put the sword underneath his armor, you know, because it'd be silly if it just went straight through. But then when they were fighting, one of the Erics, the good one, stabbed right through the evil one, and I'm wondering if he got it like underneath the armor plate or something, if we wound it back, if we could see that or not. I don't know. I don't care that much because I thought it was still good and enjoyable. And interesting stuff. I mean, there was all that happened. Rat and Cheese are most certainly dead. Aegon, they're doing a really good job humanizing him, to be sure. He's foolish, he's young, he's foolish and impulsive, but he is very relatable. Surprisingly, he's really growing on me. He wanted to be a good dad, and he does want to be a good king. And he really sold it in this episode of Vengeance. He is distraught, especially with that last scene of just once again, because they did a good job at the very beginning of just the rage and the anger. And then showing this last scene of him just sitting there, just bawling his eyes out. There really does show a good job of he is just broken on the inside, and man, you know, he's just kind of fallen apart after what's happened. And now that Otto Hightower's not there, he is going to making some very drastic decisions. Even Kristen Cole, you know, Kristen Cole was strategizing with Aegon in the last episode about how to proceed battle tactics, and you know, he's just a knight, you know, of the gold cloaks. But now he's the hand of the king, and he has no problem going forth and taking action. Obviously, in this episode, he sent Sir Eric to do that, so he doesn't mind doing that at all. So it's him, Aegon, and then even did I say Aegon? There's Aegon, the king, and then Sir Kristen Cole and Aemond. And Aemond and Kristen Cole are kind of sort of friends. I mean, they've worked together now a few times, and there seems to be some companionship there. And so, really, what you have on the green side is you have these young guys, a group of young guys, Aegon, Aemond, Kristen Cole, and they're all in extraordinary places of power because Aemond holds the most powerful dragon in the world. So you have all these very young, full of testosterone, full of anger, just full of zeal guys who are in a lot of power on the side of the Greens. And of course, Alicent, you know, she's there now. But there's such a power gap. You know, Aemond doesn't really respect her. Aegon doesn't respect her that much either. And Kristen Cole is just using her now as just, you know, his chick. And obviously she has a soft side to him because they're sleeping together so much. So there is this group of reckless young people who just, you know, are just like, ah. And so it's interesting because Otto Hightower really was the senior here, and he was the one kind of balancing everything out and actually making good, tactful, important decisions. And I'm wondering what role he's going to be placing in the future. You know, the White Worm, whatever her name was, when she noticed the twin of the brother, I wonder if she's the one. She must have been the one to go tell the other brother about the imposter, the twin that was there. And I'm wondering if we're going to see her again in the next episode. Maybe she'll show up and still be on Dragonstone and just be like, hey, I was the one that warned you of the twin. I actually changed my mind. I'd like to serve you. I've got connections in King's Landing. I don't know, maybe something like that. I just find it hard to believe because they really gave her this backstory. They, you know, gave her a decent amount of screen time in this episode. I would be a little surprised if they took her out. I feel like she's still going to play a part in the future. They only hinted at the blacksmith story in this episode, and then they also showed a little part with Alan. And so they're hinting at these characters, and I suppose there's going to be plot lines unfolding with them, because they kind of had small parts in this episode, for what it's worth. And then, yeah, I don't know where Daemon is. So Daemon and now Otto Hightower, they're both gone, and they're like two of my favorite characters. But we'll see how it goes. I'm interested to see what happens in the next episode. A lot of interesting stuff went on in this episode. I thought it was good. I thought it was solid. I didn't really see anything that I was just like, you know. So very entertaining, very good. And that's House of the Dragon for you. I see the parallels, though, between the Lord of the Rings of Power, and this one, and I mean, it's just so night and day, you know? Oh my gosh. And the Rings of Power is going to be coming out soon, which I will be reviewing and watching, of course. Oh man, I can't wait for that. Is it going to be as bad as The Acolyte? No one knows. But a solid episode 2. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'm fine with the slow build right now. I know there's going to be a lot of action in this series, so I'm fine with that right now, just the politics and stuff. And I'm sure things will continue to ramp up as time goes on, and we'll see how that goes. But I'd love to know what you guys think. Were you a fan of this episode? Was there something that went on that you didn't like? What was your favorite part? Tell me your thoughts. I'm very interested, of course. And if you did like this episode and you, this video that I made, and you want to help support the channel, then please do consider hitting the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon to be notified of my new videos. It goes a long way in helping out the channel, of course, guys. And we will continue on this story, and I'm excited to see what they do next week. So, as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a great freaking day.